Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality back with you here today. We're going to skip the politics a little bit, do something a little bit that's more on the fun side of things. It is Wrestlemania weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday show. So half the card today, half the card tomorrow, and I'm going to give my predictions on this, which are sure to be wrong. So let's see what I can cook up in my brain to figure out who I think is going to win. Now, of course, with my friends, I always make predictions and everything like that. And I think there's only one show that I've ever had anything more than a slightly over 500 record at. So let's go ahead and see how bad I can make an ass out of myself making these predictions. So, what do we got for Saturday's show? All right, we got, as it says here on the screen, John Cena versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's Championship, the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, Becky Lynch, Lita and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control, which is Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai, Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, and then in a WrestleMania showcase match, it's the men's version, the women's will be on Sunday, it's Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. Now, I'll make predictions on each of the individual matches, but one thing I think is, of course, I know I've seen some things going around about what should the main event of Saturday be. You could go with either Charlotte Flair or Rhea Ripley as one. That certainly got the star power attached to it, and I think was it the COVID WrestleMania in 2020 that they had the opening match, and it was the best match of the show, like hands down. So, I mean, that's definitely a good pick to be the main event. Of course, the one that has the name power and the story behind it, I think, really is the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. That would be my pick to be the main event if I was running things, but I'm not. So I think it's really kind of between those two. But the dark horse, I think, to be the main event of the show would be Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, the whole father-son thing. So that could be, considering Rey was inducted to the Hall of Fame last night. That could be another thing that leads to that. But we'll see. I'm going to stick with my Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I think will be the main event of the show. As for the opening match, usually something to get the crowd going. I thought I saw somewhere that it was supposed to be Cena versus Theory. So I guess I don't really have any reason to think it'd be something else. I mean, if they really wanted to go with something that's almost like guaranteed to be a barn burner to get the crowd into it, I'd probably start with Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul, to be honest with you. But I guess my official prediction then I'm going to stick with the Cena versus Theory thing. For some reason, that just feels like it probably will be the opening match. But those aren't the official predictions. You can still point and laugh at me for getting those wrong if you want to. But what I consider the official predictions are the actual match results themselves. So we got, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 options here. So I'm betting I'm going to go like 4-3 or 3-4, which tends to be about right. Or maybe even 5-2 or 2-5. Something like that. So we'll see. I'm not expecting to go undefeated. That's for damn sure. So let's just go from the top down here and see who I think's going to win. Cena versus Theory, I don't see how they could possibly give the belt to John Cena, considering this will be his second match with WWE in like a year and a half, and there's no indication that he's actually coming back to wrestle anything at all after this. Certainly not a full-time schedule, and I would think not even a part-time schedule either, because he kind of has another career now in Hollywood. So I don't see how he could win the belt, and if he does, I'm not sure what the story would be there for him to do that. And also, it gives Austin Theory, who's probably going to use some shenanigans, in my opinion, to win. It gives him some major heat, so it'd probably be a good idea to have him win, because then he could continue being his asshole self and use that and ride the wave of beating John Cena. So my pick here is Austin Theory to retain his United States Championship. Then Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. This one I feel like this one's one of those ones that's kind of obvious. Like, it seems like Charlotte just has the championship belt because they wanted her in a premium match for WrestleMania, not because like there was an actual story that led to her taking the belt. Like, she just returned after being gone for months and won the belt, and it was like, oh, okay. But versus Rhea Ripley, I think Rhea Ripley wins this match. It really kind of, again, like the Cena Theory one, I don't see how Charlotte keeps it. Rhea's kind of been built up with Judgment Day. Give them a belt as a whole so that group has some sort of credibility. I could still see there being some shenanigans with Dominic in the match Maybe this is the match that opens up the show like it did a few years ago. And maybe that way that'll lead to something later on with Ray and Dominic, or maybe even switch those matches around and vice versa. Something happens with them. But I can certainly see in one of those matches there being shenanigans from either Dominic or Rhea, depending on whose match it's not. But I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley for that match. So we've picked Austin Theory and Rhea Ripley. So the Usos versus Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. This is the match I am looking forward to the most, as I think probably anybody that's listening to this that's a fan is also looking forward to, given the storyline that's been going on for the last, 6 months or so. I'm not sure what the story would be if the Usos kept the belt. It seems like that they've been setting up with Jey Uso the fact that he might actually end up being the next challenger to Roman, like he was a couple years ago when the Bloodline first formed. Because Sammy keeps trying to, and Kevin actually keep trying to poke that bear with him to be like, you've been kind of cowed into submission. And I think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win. I think this may end up also being the match of the night, though you certainly have contenders with the Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, the Seth Rollins Logan Paul match, and even I think maybe even the Mysterios match could be a match of the night contender. So I think you have 4 legit matches here that could be match of the night pretty easily. But I'm going to go with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to take the undisputed tag belts. And then what are they going to do about separating those belts to get them on their respective programs again? Because we need the 2 champions, one for each show. So we'll see what they do with that. But for now, all belts are up in the air. So Sammy and Kevin take it tonight. The Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control is next. I really kind of don't know what to make of this one. I've read rumors that Trish is going to turn heel, and assuming that happens, then Damage Control would probably end up winning, I would imagine. Plus, I don't know really what Lita, her contract status is. If she's part-time or just doing this WrestleMania thing for now, then I'm not sure how they stick around. I just realized it's not a women's title match for the tag belts because it's 3 people in there. I was just wondering, just thinking about that for a second. I was thinking, like, how does they keep the belts if Lita's leaving, sort of thing. But if Trish changes, maybe there is something, or if Trish turns heel, maybe there is a storyline to go with Becky and Lita still holding the belts, but then maybe getting another 2 members, and then at Backlash there being like a 4-person match, something like that. I don't know. So I guess we'll see about that. But my prediction for this, as much as I love Becky, she's one of my favorites, I hate picking against her, but I'm actually going to go with Damage Control in this one. I think that group kind of really needs the heat coming off this, and I imagine there will be some shenanigans that leads to them winning. So I'm, again, going with Damage Control. So on to Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. I think I saw that Logan Paul's contract is up after WrestleMania, so why would you have him win? Excuse me, I'm sorry. So I'd say that Seth Rollins is going to win this match. He's one of the best wrestlers they have on the roster. It seems like he's lost a real lot lately in pay-per-view, so give him the win. It just kind of makes sense. So Seth Rollins is my pick there, even though I think this could end up being like a heck of a match, because Logan Paul has really, I think, surprised everybody, including myself, about how good he's been in the matches that he's been in. Forget the one with The Miz last year, but his Roman Reigns match, and then when he was in the Royal Rumble, that spot with Ricochet was awesome. There's one other match I'm just not remembering that he was really good in as well, I think, unless I'm thinking about something else. So again, this could be a really, really good match. So again, Seth Rollins is the pick. On to the Mysterios. This one is another one I think could go either way. Ray wins. I think he kind of has to, given the fact that he's the one that's kind of been poked and prodded at the entire time. Just that his kid has been up his ass the whole thing, and he just agreed to have a match with him a week ago. I say that's a reason why I think Ray wins, but I think Dominic could win, just as, like, you can see it kind of going the other way too, and then Ray getting a win at Backlash. But, like, who would benefit from a win more? And I think that would be Dominic, certainly getting the heat from being his dad. And it's his dad, so I'm sure his dad wouldn't mind doing the job to him or anything like that. Man, who am I going to pick here? I'm kind of torn. This is the one where I really think is split down the middle at 50-50. In terms of storyline, man, I think the way that, man, I don't know. I'm going against my gut here. My gut says Ray. Like, my heart wants Ray to win, but I think I'm going to I'm going to pick Dominic in this one. I just think he gets the heat. I mean, he's already getting a shit ton of heat. I say he gets more heat from winning this match. So I am officially going to pick Dominic Mysterio. So then it's on to the tag match that, frankly, I don't really give a crap about. It'll be entertaining for what it is. I like these teams individually, but 4-man tag match with 8 guys, and it's always kind of like, okay, whatever. I mean, this will probably end up being the second match of the card, just because it's like the first one will be a barn burner, then they'll put on one that like slows everything down, and I think this might be it. So who would benefit here the most from a win? Like, I have a feel it just seems like maybe even like almost a number 1 contenders match for me. I think Alpha Academy probably doesn't stand a chance to win. Viking Raiders, as good as they are, and they are really good if they're given a shot, I just don't see them winning this either. I'd probably say Braun Strowman and Ricochet, the Frankenstein team, the Franken team, is going to end up winning because it seems like they're being pushed for something. And the Street Profits are good enough as is. I mean, they don't really need it. And individually, they're excellent as well. I mean, I don't see splitting them up, but I could see them certainly getting more shots at individual things going forward. But in this one, I'm going to pick Braun Strowman and Ricochet. So just to recap, what I've picked here, I have Austin Theory, Rhea Ripley to be the new women's champion, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to take the tag belts, Damage Control, Seth Rollins, Dominic Mysterio, and Braun Strowman and Ricochet to win. So we'll see how I do tonight. Hopefully I don't change my mind before then, because this is on record. This is what counts, not anything from changing my mind or anything like that. But what do you guys think is going to happen tonight? Let me know below. I hope everybody has a good WrestleMania Saturday night. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye.